Hey everyone, what's up? How you doing? It's me, back again. Analog Attack. It's been a while, been a couple of weeks since I've done one of these, but we're back again to talk about Japanese punk, Japanese hardcore on CD. And of course, to help me do that, Alex is back again. We had a good time last time talking about a whole kind of wide variety of like Japanese punk and hardcore last time, and we're going to do the same thing again today. I've got 12 and Alex has got 12. We have no idea what we're going to show. Like I haven't see. There you go. I've got about the same. Yeah, it's going to be great. We're just kind of going to jump straight into it. We're just going to have a great time talking about 12 or perhaps a couple of more just interesting punk hardcore CDs. CD only is the rule here. It's it can only have been released on CD. Japanese punk, Japanese hardcore. That's it. That's what we're gonna do. So, Alex, are you ready? Are you ready to do this?
Yeah, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. All right. I'm drinking water today, by the way, not beer. So there you go. And he's drinking beer. Yeah, the tables have turned. All right. So I'm going to kick off with a couple of new things from last year, 2025. My first pick is a long-running band from Hiroshima who released their first album in 2025. They've been around since about 2000. It's on Break the Records. I'm talking about Mushy. Pretty good Sugi artwork. He's been doing a lot of kind of similar stuff. I think this is kind of a good one. It's all right. I like the back as well, the studded jacket. As you can probably imagine, this is like Japanese hardcore in the rockin' vein. This one is very rockin'. There's a lot of kind of Motorhead riffs and a singer who kind of does the speak-sing thing. Not too much vocal melodies or like good vocalizations, but it rocks. It's a good album. I remember like buying their first CD EP in like 2003. That was called Prototype, and I enjoyed that. And this is along the same lines as that. I want to kind of compare them to Clown from Nagoya. They kind of remind me of that band a little bit. But well, this band's been around longer from Crown, so I know. Are you familiar with this one, Alex? Have you heard this?
Yeah, I picked that up last year, and I've enjoyed it. I was surprised to learn they've been around for so long
Right.
because they were new to me. But yeah, it's like they sound like old dudes. They probably are old dudes by this point.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think so. But I really like the packaging of some of these CDs recently, especially like Break the Records, these kind of like, digipacks or whatever. They're pretty nice. So, and you even get like a nice like fold out poster, which it's proof that a CD can look good as well. Good stuff. But they took the time. They took the time making the first album. But as we discussed before, in Japan, like the live show is kind of more important than the recorded stuff. So it kind of makes sense. Yeah, so that was from last year. And this one, my next pick for the first round, came out on Christmas Eve 2025. It's a split CD. I talked about one of the bands last time, was Someei Yoshino, who originally had two ex-members from the Gaia, but I think they only have one member left over now in the band. That's Yappy, who was, I think, the bass player in the Gaia. But they've been around for a long time. There's an ex-member of Yume Fuda, too, who were on Brian from Drop Dead's Japan Core Omnibus LP. Yeah, let's have a look at it. This might look familiar because it's an homage to Motorhead's, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And in the spirit of that, Max Overheat, another long-running band. They have 4 albums out, all on CD only. I think perhaps people might have heard about them first outside of Japan because they had a split 7-inch with Screaming Hog, and Screaming Hog were Mune, the Paintbox vocalist, and Sakura, the later era Judgment bassist band. Have you heard Screaming Hog? Not to get off topic.
No, no, I haven't heard them. They've been on my list to check out for a while. Yeah.
They have a couple of demos that are kind of badly recorded, but man, it's kind of like the roots of Paintbox, and like Mune's voice is amazing. You got to check out. You got to check out Screaming Hog. You'll be in for a treat. But we're not talking about Screaming Hog. This is Max Overheat. Again, long-running band. Like I said, they've got Iron Fist Tatsushima in the band now. As you might expect, this is a very Motorhead influenced Japanese hardcore. 3 songs from Max Overheat, 3 songs from Someei Yoshino, and then on the last track they team up and play a song together. But yeah, Someyoshino Yoshino is really good. They're kind of like, in the spirit of, women's liberation, like the Gaia and Gush and all those old bands, like 80s bands, but or 90s bands. But yeah, good stuff. Interesting. Came out on Christmas Eve 2025 on Captured, who have put out a lot of kind of rocking stuff, like, Someyoshino Yoshino and a bunch of other bands. It's good to see, they're still going, and these two bands are still around. There you go.
So Iron Fist is playing in a couple bands now, isn't he?
He has a new, like, Japanese hardcore style band that I'm blanking on the name of. People have talked about them a bit because people. It's got I think, I don't know. I forgot who's in the band, but it's like a traditional Japanese hardcore band, and obviously he's not playing in Crow. He's not playing in Crow anymore. They've got a different drummer now. But yeah, he loves Motorhead, so it makes sense that he would be the drummer in Max Overheat. And I've got to mention this, actually, it's kind of important. In Japan, a lot of like each town or each kind of area has its own like gig series. So for example, I'm wearing a t-shirt. This is Smash Your Chains, Nightmare Warhead. Everyone knows Burning Spirits, which is also like a gig series, really. Gauze had their Disinfection gig, long running, and like Max Overheat have been doing their High Blood Energy, HY, for years. And there's a really amazing video that everyone should check out if you're into Japanese hardcore, called High Blood Energy. I found it on YouTube the other day, and it's got like paint box, blowback, rocking in Sweden, and it's filmed like really, really well. It's like one of those old classics from the 80s. It's kind of done like that with like multiple cameras. So everybody like check out. It's a really, really good video. It's on YouTube now, so check out High Blood Energy, Max Overheat's organized gig series. Yeah, that's my first round. Have you heard Max Overheat, Alex?
No, I've heard the name, but I'm not familiar with that band.
Okay, there you go. Another one to check out. Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's my first round. Okay, Alex.
All right. So Iron Fist is a good segue to mine.
Oh, nice.
So you can take a guess, maybe. But so I know when you were doing your 15 best Japanese punk albums series, you got a couple comments on your initial videos. Well, why aren't you talking about this band? Why aren't you talking about this band?
Right.
And I think yeah. So this is probably the most well-known Japanese hardcore band. Certainly the most notorious, at least. And their final release was, in fact, CD only. I think you know who I'm talking about, probably.
Yeah.
So we got Gizm. So this is Sonic Crime Therapy. This came out on their own Beastarts label, and I couldn't figure out if it was 2001 or 2002. I think it might have been like January 2002. But I mean, so Kevy's gone now. He passed away a couple of years ago, so rest in peace. But
so Randy Uchida too, right? He's
that's right. Yeah. But I was gonna say we could say whatever we want to say about this without fear of retribution, right?
I think so.
It's not so scary to talk about Gizm anymore. Well, first of all, what does Gizm stand for on this album? It's
I forgot, actually. Remind us.
Yeah, on this one, it has genocide, infanticide, suicide, menticide.
That's it. That's
for the record.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. So this is a very long album.
Yeah,
very long songs. It actually starts off with a really interesting. It's like kind of a jazz thing.
Yeah, and it's like kind of scatting.
Yeah. It's like a straight up jazz instrumental with clean guitar, jazz chords and stuff. And so Kevy's kind of doing his thing over it. And then it drops into this kind of super brutal. I mean, the production is pretty rough on this one. It almost sounds like
it's really weirdly produced. It's like it was definitely a decision, I think.
Yeah, so I'm not totally sure how I felt about that. It almost feels like the songs would have worked better with maybe cleaner production, to my ears at least. But yeah, the songs have a lot of tempo changes, really chunky riffs. I mean, the first song goes from these kind of groove parts that, honestly, it almost sounds like Pantera or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it drops into these like blast beat sections. So it's kind of like a bit all over the place. A lot of palm muting and stuff. Sukevi's, being Sukevi for most of the album. You got some of the industrial soundscapes at the end and more ambient tracks. So I kind of have mixed feelings about this one, but I just figured like we got to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Gizmo album. So,
That's
what?
that's like
Yeah,
being reissued like 3 or 4 times in Japan on CD, right? Like different boxes
yeah.
and stuff, and, yeah, I remember I bought it actually new when it came out because 'cause I'd been living in Japan for, like, 2 or 3 years at that time, and, yeah, I didn't know what to make of it either. It was exciting, like, everyone was so excited. I was like, "Man, like a new Gizm record." But, if you've been going to see them live, I hadn't, but I knew people who were because they were playing live a lot at that time too, and they were so people kinda knew I guess they kinda knew what to expect. I mean, there's blast beats and stuff on there, right? And those, like, breakdowns and, like, super heavy riffs, and I know that, like, they were hanging out with, that band Hellchild a bit,
Oh, okay.
and I that
Yeah.
Hellchild album, Bearskin, has a bonus disc on it in Japan, and Hellchild cover "Shoot to Kill" by Gizm, and I think that was probably the first time and last time any band had been given permission in Japan to cover a Gizm song. So I think like Hellchild and Gizm were pretty tight with each other, and I don't
Okay.
know if any of that like that kind of death metal and those like riffs because Hellchild have a lot of those kind of riffs too, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much of an influence Hellchild were on Gizm. I want to say quite a bit actually. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned it, but Iron Fist Tatsushima is of course the drummer on this album.
Mm-mm.
So and then you got all the kind of Sukevi artwork in here. Um, so kind of cool to have like the physical version of this. Um, yeah, I can't remember if this was like announced when it came out or if it kind of just dropped out of nowhere, but I remember at the time it was very exciting. Um,
There's a
so yeah,
really nice, beautifully designed, like, flyer for that with, like, gold leaf, like and it was designed by Cicave, and I remember, like, seeing that in all the record stores around that time, but,
mm,
and that, they had, like, the full I think, like, Doll magazine was still going. I remember, like, there was always seemed to be, like, a lot of money behind that binder. They had, like, full page ads, and everything was sort of professional. They were kind of playing very, like, weird places, like, kind of, like, sophisticated, like, nightclubs that other punk bands wouldn't play in. There was all sorts of stuff, like, going on with that band that you might expect from, Sakabi. So, yeah. I know I've got a bootleg like, double LP of that, actually.
okay.
Yeah, and I actually don't
Yeah,
have I don't have the CD at the moment, but I should
yeah.
kind of buy it back. I did hear whispers. I mean, hey, I wonder if Relapse are gonna do an official reissue.
Yeah, I mean, I figure they do it at some point. So
I don't think the Gizm reissues did as well as they were expecting because you still see that stuff all the time. They haven't shifted those yet, so I don't know. But that's
mm,
a great
mm.
pick. It's a really interesting album. I have heard people say that it's their favorite Gizm album, which is an
Yeah, I've heard that too. I'm not gonna go there. I'm a detestation person, but it's interesting for sure. It's
yeah,
a piece of the puzzle
yeah, absolutely,
for Gizm's recorded output. So
absolutely. All right,
all right, so my next pick, I'm very underqualified to talk about this, but I'm gonna mention it anyways.
all right.
And like I know during the CD episode of What Are You Listening To, you brought out some high technology suicide CDs,
Yes,
and
yeah,
I know that you got a bunch of blank stares. I don't think any of us were too familiar with that.
yeah. I
Um,
guess they're kind of obscure outside of Japan. I guess everything
yeah,
CD. But they did they did put out like a 1/7 inch on Sympathy
yeah,
for the Record Industry. So I
yeah.
don't know.
But anyway, my pick is so this is QP
Keep
Crazy.
come on, keep
Yeah,
it crazy.
QP Crazy. This is their Twilight Zombie CD, which is their first album from 1996.
Wow.
And of course, this is Crazy SKB, who was also behind High Technology Suicide. And if you haven't heard of him, he's a wrestler who is also a very prolific musician.
Um,
And
really
he's had
good.
a bunch of projects. I think this has kind of been his main one for a
Been
while.
doing that for ages, yeah.
Yeah. I
And they
mean,
have like
I was looking on Discogs, and this group has 14 albums, kind of amazingly.
uh,
Um, And I mean, it feels like he's kind of a major figure, but nobody really knows about him outside of Japan, right?
No, he doesn't. They don't care about like what's it's like he's
Yeah,
also like I think I might have told the stories a little bit on the stream, but I used to kind of tape like I used to trade CDs with him. I met him a couple of times. I saw High Technology Suicide a couple of times. I've seen QP Crazy a couple of times. He's a very
okay,
eccentric character. I mean, the
yeah,
wrestling thing kind of came later, and he's had this
mm,
label like Satsugai Enko which has like fucking I don't know like 500, 600 or different releases, and there's a lot of dark comedy. Like a lot of this stuff is just unlistenable to the Western ear because it's all like jokes about political figures in Japan or people on
mm,
TV, and it just like I remember like getting the like a boxes of this stuff like back like in the like mid to late 90s, like huge boxes he would send me, right? And I so I loved High Technology Suicide, but like all of that stuff just like it's just like junk, it's like non-musical. It sounds like it was made up on the spot. But my wife and her friends were just sat there in hysterical like laughter. So, there's a
yeah,
lot of comedy, a lot of black humor going on in this stuff.
okay,
Um, which I still don't really understand, to be honest with you. But you know what? QP Crazy is pretty much three-quarters of the lineup of High Technology Suicide,
yeah,
but
yeah, I
without
think,
the main songwriter. But this
okay,
is where the problem lies because to me, they don't have those great songs that High Technology
yeah.
Suicide.
Have you heard this one, Mike?
Yeah, I stopped. Yes, I bought it when it came out, and
Yeah,
I used to buy them when they came out, but I just gave up because it was like diminishing returns, and
I
it
see.
just felt like very unfinished and knocked off, and like
Yeah, I have to say the artwork looks amazing for some of the most recent ones.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
that
mm,
kind of piqued my
mm,
curiosity, but whether the music's any good is another question. But
yeah,
on this one, he kind of sounds like I think the concept was to fuse like uh, hardcore punk and industrial music.
yes, yep, yep,
So I think it works on some of the songs. Like a lot of the songs actually just kind of sound like 80s Japanese hardcore. Like
yep, yep, yep,
the vocals sound a lot like Kuro, like Who the Helpless
yep, yep, yep.
style. But other songs, that industrial feeling really comes through, and you get a bit of like maybe a Ministry vibe or
Right,
like
right,
Dissecting Table, for another Japanese band,
right.
something like that. So I think it's kind of a mixed CD, but overall I enjoy it.
Okay, okay,
It's a little maybe it's a little gimmicky, like the whole kind of horror concept.
right.
But there's like samples from horror movies and like sound effects and stuff like that. And it's kind of a fun listen. The production is not really that hard hitting. It's actually kind of weak sounding, which is interesting.
Mm,
I don't know if that's like intended to be a bit of a throwback to like 80s,
maybe.
primitive Japanese hardcore sound, but there's also like visually, kind of like you said, I don't know if you can see, but yeah, Crazy SKB, he often has like white makeup, full face makeup, really crazy charged hair that's like pink or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever colors. A lot of like fake blood, maybe real blood. I don't know. It's kind of a performance art.
I've seen them. I've seen not them, but I've seen High Technology Suicide where his own blood was spilled. An ambulance came actually to
Okay, so real blood.
real blood. Yeah, not
Okay,
always, but sometimes. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, he kind of looks like he's in Slipknot or something, but it's your very unique figure. I think this is a pretty good album. If you're saying there's diminishing returns, maybe this
I
is the
mean,
best.
you said they've got like what 16 albums now or something like that.
14, I
14
count.
now.
Yeah,
I don't remember like when I stopped. They have a split CD with Rapes too, right? Like the
right,
old
right.
Sucker like metallic hardcore band, which is interesting. Those two bands were kind of like friends for a while and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, interesting band. I don't think they're very well liked in the traditional hardcore scene because they're too like you said, gimmicky and goofy and like
Yeah,
the stuff that they don't think is very cool. But I think he's great. Very interesting character. And I mean, we could talk about him for like an hour. I've got so many stories. Maybe after we finish talking, because man, he's done some stuff, over the years, which is pretty crazy. So
okay.
that's a great pick. That's a great pick. All right. Remember last time we talked about Knucklehead? And after
Yeah,
that show, man, I couldn't stop because I hadn't listened to that CD for a while, actually, to be honest with you. But I listened to it in preparation for that episode. And I've been listening to that CD like all the time, man. And other people have been like saying, man, yeah, what are they? Are they grindcore? Are they power violence? Are they Japanese hardcore? I'm like, yes, yes, yes. They're all of those things. And, you know, it kind of got me thinking about the other bands that the vocalist Tozawa went on to be in. So I've got like one legitimate pick for him and one kind of dodgy one. But I want to show it just to sort of highlight the band, because I think both of these bands are amazing. The first band, and actually I kind of got ahead of myself with this band, actually, because I'm coming in with Antagonista Million Steps, which is a name change. They were originally called Antagonista Punk Orchestra. They have like 2 CDs out under that name, and then they changed their name to Antagonista Million Steps. This is their Anti-Hate EP. It was self-released 2018. I know, man, this, like, it starts off kind of funky. There's some punk that kind of sounds like Order a little bit. Then it suddenly goes into some dub and some reggae, and then another sort of bit of punk. But all of these like stylistic changes, you know, Tozawa keeps, for the most part, keeps that amazing growl that he had in Knucklehead. So it makes for a really unique band. I was thinking about this the other day, like, he's got like the perfect growl. Like, it's not comical like death metal. It's not comical almost like Sakavi. It's just like this perfect pitch where he's kind of still singing, but it's like super gravelly. And I think he's amazing. It's like a completely underrated like singer, for want of a better word. This is great. I really like the whole package. It's like cardboard. And it was designed by the guys from Marginal. I don't know if you know Marginal. They're a band from Indonesia who kind of got some traction in Japan. People in Japan love Marginal with a J, and there's a documentary made about them in Japan, and they're quite popular in Indonesia. And a lot of people kind of fell in love with Marginal, and so they designed this CD EP. But I haven't checked out like Antagonista Punk Orchestra yet, so I'm going to circle back to that band when I pick up their CDs. Really, really interesting stuff. This isn't okay. And my next one is not an official pick, but I want to show it. It's Kuriyazaki Thunder Road CTR. Like, it's a kind of partial discography. You know, this stuff was released on 7 inches and cassette tapes. I think there's some unreleased stuff that hasn't been released anywhere else, so it's only on this CD. So it's kind of not cheating too much. But some of these songs have been released on singles. This band is fucking amazing. I kind of remember I saw them once when they were around, and I wasn't that interested because I was just all about, you know, Warhead and Nightmare, blah blah blah. So it's like, but listening to it now, man, it's, you know, it's really going back to that, you know, Burst City, like first wave Japanese punk, but kind of, but played by hardcore punks. It kind of sounds like Order at times, a little bit rock and roll-y at times, and he's still got the growl, which just makes him like such a unique band with like his growl. And there's like a whole bunch of people in this band. They all look cool as hell. This is the early years CD on HG Fact that came out in 2000.
Yeah, I haven't heard that band, but well, I've actually had that CD in my Discogs cart for a long time. So you know, I got to pull the trigger. Yeah,
it's amazing. As soon as I did the Knucklehead thing, I was like going back, and because I'm remembering all this stuff, I was like, okay, I got to get this. And it was in my Disc Union cart, but someone bought it. I was like, shit. But it came up again like pretty quickly, so I grabbed it, and I'm happy to do so. Really cool band. I think probably overlooked outside of Japan. I guess some people might have picked up the singles in real time when they came out on HG Fact, because a lot of people were trading with HG Fact. So, but I think this band is kind of forgotten a little bit. CTR Kuriyazaki Thunder Road, great stuff. So my second official pick for this round has a connection to this band, because the singer of this band actually appears on this. I think this is her, actually. This is her here. Her name is Nora, and she's the singer of a band called Butterfly. You know, I've never, you know, as far as I can remember, I can never remember, like, I can't remember anybody like talking about this band, which kind of blows my mind. They're from Sapporo. They've got 3 CDs out. 2 of them are on Straight Up Records. One of them is like self-released. You know, Straight Up Records, well-known label. You know, it's Slang's label. I know, man. It's like this is like kind of metallic, a little bit like Tetsuare, bit of Motorhead, traditional Japanese hardcore. There's a couple of songs that kind of have a paint box feel in, you know, to them. Ripping guitar player, as I said, a bit metallic, but really like the star of the show is the vocalist Nora. So if you think that like someone like Ghana from the Gaia has the huskiest, you know, like hoarse delivery, you ain't heard nothing yet. Like her vocals are amazing. They're so hoarse, like so husky and so powerful. They're amazing. This band is underrated, I want to say. So Butterfly, this is the first one, Heavy Blue from 2005.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that band.
Okay, you're in for a treat. And then this is the second album, Paint It Black, also on Straight Up Records from 2014. Not that old. There's the band on the back. Great stuff. Absolutely great. And then this is like, I'm not sure what happened, but like the last one isn't on Straight Up Records. But I don't know why that is, but and it's this one. White Knight. There you go. They're all great. You can start off anywhere with this band and have a good time. Yeah, Butterfly. Great. It's just great traditional Japanese hardcore with an amazing female vocalist called Nora, who really like, I mean, it's really amazing. I think you're going to be, they got some like, if you type in Butterfly Japanese hardcore on YouTube, there's some like videos and stuff that they made that are pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
But the funny thing is there was another band called Butterfly. I don't know if you know about this band. They never recorded anything, but there was like the gap between when Lip Cream broke up and Alto broke up, and before Colored Rice Men, and before other bands like came along. There was a band called Butterfly, which was Butcher from Alto and Minoru from Lip Cream, and they played some shows, but they never recorded anything. So yeah, just thought I'd mention that along the way, because that was an interesting band that people kind of waiting for their single or their album to come out, but they broke up. So, but this is about Butterfly from Sapporo. Good stuff.
Nice.
All right. Second pick, right? Second pick.
Yes, round 2. So this one, I think I got mentioned a lot actually in the comments to some of our last video. A couple people mentioned this. This is Sugar.
There you go. Nice.
And this is Sugar's Live Now, Pay Later CD EP. Came out on Discreet Records in 2001. And you know, it's Shizuoka hardcore.
Yes.
It sounds like Shizuoka hardcore. No surprises here. Very, very basic stuff, but just really wild, especially in the vocals.
Yeah.
And you know, the guitars have this kind of like scooped out muddy quality, which really reminds me of the guitars on the Blaze 7-inch.
Okay. Yeah.
Production felt like really similar. So if you like Blaze, I think you'll be into Sugar. There's no pictures of the band on this release, but you know, I'm sure they have very impressive mohawks, I'm guessing. Yeah. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's very good, very fierce. I think Discreet is a really cool label. They're very reliable, right? Like pretty much everything on Discreet is really good. None of it's like super creative or groundbreaking, but it's just you can kind of count on it for just really solid, you know, traditional Japanese hardcore type stuff. I think they started doing CD only at some point.
Yes, right. That band I talked about at the beginning, they only have like their stuff's like CD only. Yeah, on Discreet.
Yeah, I think I think this is like their only actual release or standalone release, and I think they had a 7-inch with Raid.
Raid, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think as far as I know, that's all they ever put out.
I think so. Yeah. Ripping. I mean, I think they were kind of definitely like a Lip Cream influenced band more than anything. In fact, that's what made Japanese friend said the other day. It's like they were like one of the best, best lip cream influenced bands going around at that time. But
Yeah.
that's on my list. I don't have it. It's been on my wants list for ages. Never shows up. Yeah.
Really? I bought it from like a US distro just a couple years ago. It was dead stock. So there's copies out there.
Yeah, not in Japan. It'll show up. I'm not in a hurry. It'll show up. But
Yeah. And only 4 songs also. Or maybe like, no, it's 4 songs with an intro.
okay. The
So
CDEP. Yeah, there's so many of those. My next round has a couple of those actually. But yeah.
Okay, so my next one, I am going with classic 80s Japanese hardcore band. This is Poison Arts. And this is the self-titled Poison Arts CD, which people don't really talk about. I don't know if they know it's out there, but basically this is actually like re-recordings
Right.
of stuff that they had put out prior, even just like a year or two prior. This has stuff from basically like the post Chelsea releases. So
Right.
of course Chelsea from Deathside used to be the guitarist for this band on a couple of their EPs. Then he left.
When they were called Poison, right?
Oh yeah, yes, that's right. They were Poison. Chelsea left, and then they became Poison Arts.
But actually, even like the first Poison album, which I love, like it doesn't have Chelsea on it, right? The Kick Rock album doesn't. Yeah. I think
it's got the new guy, which his name escapes me, but
me too. I can't remember his name.
but he's great too. If you never heard Poison Arts, they kind of sound. I always kind of compare them to like Gas Tank, but kind of that late '80s Selfish sound. It's like tight hardcore with a bit of a rock edge.
Yeah.
The thing about Poison Arts was, to me, like there's not a lot of darkness in their music. They kind of have more of like I don't know if I would say like party vibe, but it's more like triumphant.
Yes.
Like you feel good listening to it. It's not like there's not a lot of darkness that I hear.
You nailed it. That's exactly what I like.
Yeah. So like the whole idea of bands re-recording their songs, I think, isn't that kind of a Japanese thing, like the self-cover they call it?
Self-cover, and it's like
Self-cover.
it seems to be like totally acceptable. I don't like it, and the thing is, he's doing it again. Like he's doing a new one, like again.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, come on! It's like
So,
do this.
I mean, I feel like it's mostly pop artists that are doing that kind of thing. Like instead of putting out a greatest hits, we'll just re-record all of our hits and put out a new CD. I usually don't like that kind of thing, but I love the versions on this. Have you heard this one, Mike?
I used to have it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I feel like I actually like these versions a little better.
Interesting.
I think they're just very well recorded. Still got the same spirit, and they don't sound watered down or anything to me. They're just really good performances. One thing about this is this has like a bunch of kind of bad quality live tracks that are mixed into them. So in kind of typical Japanese hardcore style, the live recordings sound like crap. So if they had left those off, this would be better. But the studio tracks on this are very, very good in my opinion.
It's all coming back to me now. I do remember like like lots of like weird decisions were made about a lot of stuff back then. But that's like what,
1990. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, self-titled Poison Arts, and I mean, this band just had incredible riffs, great riffs.
Yeah.
So this is a great listen.
That came out in 1990.
Yeah.
That's wild. I saw them in 1990 in Japan, in Tokyo, when I was on vacation. They were fucking amazing, I have to say. Like, just, just incredible. And I saw them again, like, in 1993 with Deathside and Rapes, and they weren't quite as good, but still good. But that gig in 1990 at Antinoch was
I think I saw that they're still playing like last month, I think. So I don't know who's in the band now or what they sound like, but
the vocalist is very erratic. Like they often like don't show up, and like nobody really knows how he's going to be on the day. Blah 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 blah. And like, but you know, yeah, we won't get into that too much.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, speaking of,
I'm gonna revisit that one.
yeah,
You
definitely.
showed. Yeah.
And I just have an unofficial pick. Since we're talking about self covers, there's this thing, the Swankies. So this is New York Live, Fuck USA. This is not a live album, even though it's called Live. It has like fake audience noise over it, but it's basically like most of the tracks from the second album. What is it? Never Eat Swank.
Never eat swank dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So you know, if you're into that album and you want to hear like re-recordings of those same songs, this is out there. Just so you know.
Nice. I've never thought about picking it up actually. I see it all the time. I've never thought about it.
Yeah, this is. I mean, to be honest, this era of the Swankies is not my favorite, so that's why it wasn't my pick. But you know, it's good stuff. If you like Swankies, you got to get it. CD only.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to change my order just because, you know, Shizuoka Hardcore. I got some Shizuoka Hardcore. Okay. Innocence, who just had a discography LP out on FOAD. I like the Innocence. I think the single kind of sucks. I think all of their comp tracks are fucking amazing. So I mean, I did buy that Innocence reissue, but honestly, I've already got the best songs on like compilations. But anyway, the vocalist of Innocence had started a new band probably like late 90s. They're called Hassen or 8000, as people probably will know them better as. I bought their first CD album when it came out and was really disappointed. Kind of really thin, weak production, like really like lacking in energy. I don't know really what went wrong with that album. Ended up kind of selling it. But I went to see them a bunch of times and they were fucking amazing. So anyway, I'm going to talk about like Hassen. This is actually, let's show the first one. This is from 2005. Hassen, Katsubou. It's on D.I.S, which it was kind of amazing to see D.I.S kind of revitalized or, putting stuff out, because D.I.S was the label that put out like Deadless Muss, like back in the 80s. So it's kind of interesting that they were putting out stuff in, 2000. This is great, man. I mean, it's got their hit Bullshit and Laugh. That's kind of their signature tune. This band, like, they don't play fast. But it's also not really mid-paced. It's like, it has like, they have a real like swagger to them, like this band. Like the riffs are kind of simple, but it's like super burly. And the singer, Ota-san, has kind of changed his vocal style from Innocence. He's doing more of like the kind of like the low register, like Ishio from Forward, that kind of growl, that kind of delivery. But he's good at it. It works. I saw them live, like I said, a couple of times, and they were always like super fun to see live. So this is Katsubou from 2005. And then 2013, you get this CD EP called Spiral, which I think is a little bit better. The artwork is done by Nakasan, who is like the, Burning Spirits artist, former Paintbox and Sticks in Throats bass player. Great stuff, just art, typical, just like burly Japanese hardcore that makes you kind of want to sway from side to side and like raise a fist. And I love it. Hassen from Shizuoka, and I think they're still going. You see them on flyers like every now and again, but they haven't put out anything since 2013. And this came out on Blurred. If I remember rightly, Blurred is Senseless Apocalypse's label, who are like a grindcore band or a fastcore band, right? So I thought it was pretty interesting that Hassen decided to put their EP out on Blurred. Same town, probably friends. So that's probably why. But have you heard Hassen?
No, I haven't heard either of those.
Cool.
Yeah.
The first album is, I don't know, I haven't listened to it for like, I don't know, 15, 16 years. But I remember like being like disappointed with it when it came out. Like I said, thin production, kind of lacking, but they more than made up for it with those two CD EPs. And my next pick, this band was mentioned on the podcast we're listening to a couple of weeks ago, because our guest Mike Piggott put out a 7-inch by this band on his Human Stench label. In the States, he put out the Brain Eaters album as well. He organized, I think he organized a tour for this band as well in the States. And he just got me thinking, man, I haven't listened to that band for ages. So when I was in Disc Union, I was like, oh, I wonder if they've got any CDs by this band. And yes, they did. Stupid Babies Go Mad. Man, this is wild. I'd kind of forgotten how great this band was. I mean, I always kind of considered them to be like a junior band to Smash Your Face. They're kind of from the same town. They got the wrestling mask, the Mexican wrestling masks on. They both kind of play like hardcore, which is like garage punk meets hardcore, kind of blown out. Bit of a Dwarves influence, but man, this is fucking amazing. It's like super energetic, like blown out. A little bit of like Nine Shocks Terror era lip cream in there, but just really crazy blown out garage punk stroke hardcore. They've got 4 albums out, and they're all on CD, and they're all on like Diwphalanx, which is Disc Union's label, which is pretty amazing because it's a big fucking label, big indie label. So they probably pushed this quite a bit, but I think actually this is a reissue. This one originally came out on their own label, but this came out in 1998 originally. This is like a 2006 Disc Union reissue. But man, Stupid Babies Go Mad, man, fucking so good, so good.
Yeah, that was a band I always heard about back in the day, just because of the name, but
Right,
I don't think I ever ended up checking them out. So
I mean, if you like, if you had Smash, you've heard Smash Your Face, right? I guess.
yeah, I got some of their stuff.
Yep. I think this band is like even like more blown out than like Smash Your Face. Great stuff. I'm glad Mike mentioned them on the podcast, because it's a band I hadn't thought about for a while. So I'm on the hunt for all their other stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Weird name, but what are you gonna do? All right. What we're on? Third pick, third round, fourth round?
Round 3. So this is kind of the last round where I have more, traditional Japanese hardcore sound. From here on out, after this round, we'll go in some other directions.
Okay.
But first one. So this band, their name is Yo-Shi. It's YO-SHI, which I think means Death of the Sun.
Yes, that's the name. Right? That's the name of the CD EP too, right?
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if it was like self-titled or that's the name of it, but anyway, Yo-Shi, Death of the Sun. This came out on Devour in 2004, and this is it's just really good traditional Japanese hardcore. Okay, how many ways can you describe bands like this? But it's tight, it's powerful, well produced, smooth riffs. The drum production sounds really similar to Bastard to me. He's got kind of some of the same rhythms he's doing, just kind of massive sounding. Vocals sound like DSB to my ears. So, I mean, I know it sounds like high praise, but Bastard mixed with DSB.
I mean,
kind of what it sounds like.
I mean, I'll kind of do like my pick as well. So I had this in my stack, so let's kind of do this one together. I think this is like a lightning in a bottle album.
Yeah.
It's like the energy levels are through the roof. The production, the way it's captured, is perfect. It's like the drumming is amazing. Like the guitar player is just like doing these like really, I don't know. It just reminds me. It is traditional Japanese hardcore, but it's kind of stripped down a bit. It's not like super rock and roll or rock and rollsy or Motorheady. It kind of reminds me of for me, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Ivance and Eve. Those in a way, and then in the sense that it's stripped down, like no frills, absolutely pummeling fucking hardcore. Like so much energy in this like mini.
So
it's 11 minutes. It's like 5 songs in 11 minutes.
This is the first one we've the same CD.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
I mean, I listened to this again this morning. I was like, man, this is like fucking amazing. and it
It's
came
great.
out.
Nobody ever talks about it either.
I mean,
I had never heard of it, and I only bought this just because I was just like browsing on Discogs, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I just total blind buy.
I think it's been
Yeah,
forgotten about. I mean, they were a one and done band. I actually had this as a set with another band who are similar, who had this like one CD EP, and then they vanished.
mhm.
But I did find out through the power of Discogs that like there's members of Jabra and Struck and Nada Cambia in this band, but I don't
Yeah,
know
so,
what they're doing.
mm,
I don't know, and I can't remember. But I think this is like, it feels like a kind of one-off side project to me, maybe. But man, this is
yeah,
like fire, fire, absolute fire. It's amazing. Yo-Shi,
yeah.
Death of the Sun.
Yoshi. I was trying to see which Jabra member was in it, and I think it might have been somebody that joined later on, so he's not on Why We Wish, and
Right, right, right.
yeah,
I didn't look into it too much, but
yeah.
yeah,
So maybe he was in the the trumpet era of
maybe.
Jabra.
But I
I don't
want to
know.
say that no, I don't think so. If it was the drummer, I don't think so, because they've had the
Mm.
drummer's been consistent in Jabra. They've
Oh,
always
okay.
been drummer, so. But anyway, Yo-Shi, Death of the Sun, Devour, 2004. Track it down. It's fucking amazing. Yeah,
Yep, definitely.
yeah,
Great little CD EP.
yeah.
And okay, so for my next pick, well, this is Ignition's
Okay.
Line on Free CD. Came out on MCR in 2004.
Mm.
And this is also traditional Japanese hardcore, but this has that kind of, that razor sharp R house production. Sounds
Mm.
great. Again, I mean, at its core, it kind of is like, Death Side or Liberate or Tetsu Are, etc. But they kind of have these like harmonized guitar leads. Sounds a lot like Iron Maiden, actually. So a bit of like 80s metal influence. Some kind of acoustic sounding intros that remind me of Metallica when they're, doing their ballads. So kind of makes it stand out a little bit.
Oh,
I was looking up the members, and the guitarist was in Vivisic, who
okay, okay.
I'm actually not a huge fan of that band, but he was also on the Rocky and the Sweden's comeback album from 2019, City Baby Attacked by Buds. I think that's what
Interesting.
it's called.
He's the guitarist, right?
Yeah, the guitarist. And I don't think he's in the band anymore, so I think they got a new guitarist for this
Right.
latest one.
Yeah, that's another topic for another day. The new guitar player rocking Sweden.
Uh,
Fuck.
yep. But yeah, this is just a one-off, I think. Actually, I can't remember if they have anything else, but this is just another one that nobody ever talks about.
I
Yeah,
think I've
CD
seen them
only.
like once, but that's
Mm.
really a distant memory. I should track that down. If it was on MCR, it should be easy to get. So
Yeah, it's super easy to get. Dollar bin staple,
hope so.
dollar bin ripper. There's like tons of copies of this on Discogs in many different countries, so
Okay,
it's
okay.
very easy to
Well,
find.
probably the MCR, like he's a big
Yeah,
trader. He would trade all around the world, so that's
yeah,
why. And then they just
yeah. It's a good one. A bit of a hidden gem, in my opinion. So check it
nice,
out.
cool, 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 cool.
Yep.
All right, nice. Okay, so if anybody had been wondering whatever happened to Neko, or Reiko, as she sometimes calls herself, the vocalist of The Nurse, classic first wave Japanese hardcore band. I think I'm going to give her a little bit of history actually of what she did, because it kind of makes sense why this band is the way it is. This is on kind of Japanese Wikipedia. You can find this information, so I tracked it down. Yeah, like she moved to Cairo. She lived in Egypt and she studied. I'm talking about Neko, the vocalist of the Cums, right? So not the Cums, the Nurse. And yeah, so she lived in Cairo. She studied at the Egyptian National Folk Dance Company in Cairo and became like a professional dancer in this style. And she came back to Japan and she founded the Egyptian and Arabic Dance Institute in Japan. That's pretty fucking amazing, right? And apparently there's all this other stuff too about how she's been on TV commercials. She was asked to write stuff for all sorts of stuff. She was kind of not big time, but you know, doing a lot of interesting stuff like post being in the Nurse. So fast forward to like 2010 or something, she forms a band. This is the band I'm talking about. Look at that. D.O.T or Desert of Tomorrow. This is their third album. I haven't heard the other two. Came out on Disc Union. Disc Union put this out. The lineup of this band is kind of interesting. So it's Neko on vocals, and it's Maru is the drummer, ex-Execute, ex-Lip Cream, ex-Laughing Nose, ex-Abradako, and the bass player is Hiroshi, who was in Abradako, and it's a bass, drum, and vocal band with occasional guitar. And man, it's really unique. You know, there's all these like Arabic and Egyptian rhythms in the music, and you would think it would be the drums doing that, but it's actually the bass doing it. And the drums are actually pretty simple. It's a lot of like it kind of gets pretty fast, but it's kind of experimental. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's a little bit psychedelic. They've got, you know, Arabic stuff mixed in there, which is Arabic music's kind of psychedelic, you know. And she does like I forgot what that singing style is called, but it's kind of from the throat where it's like, oh, like this. It's like that start, like every now and again it comes in with the vocals that she used to do in the Nurse. It's really long. It's like an hour long. They probably could have cut some fat off this, but man, super interesting band. I went and kind of checked out some live videos, and I was like kicking myself because I had a bunch of chances to go and see this band, and I never did at the time. And you know, this came out in 2017, but that's 9 years ago. You know, 9 years is a long time when you're kind of my age, and so these people are my age or older, right? So kind of made me feel a bit sad, actually. You know, 2017, it's not that long ago, but this band's probably done, I assume. No, I mean, I don't. Have you heard this band? It's wild. They're a wild band.
No, never heard of that in my
And
life.
that's her on the cover, like, you know, and she does belly dancing and like Arabic dancing on the stage. It's really powerful, actually. And on the second album, it was produced by Momo, the guitarist of Gauze. Not this one, the second album. And apparently he plays guitar on that album, which is pretty interesting. I haven't heard that. I've only heard this one. It's called Bird's Eye View. Like I said, Disc Union, 2017. Very interesting band. Desert.
That's cool. I'm kind of into bands that have like no guitar, like just bass, drums, vocals. So
It took
that's
me a
cool.
while to get used to it, but once you do, it's like, yeah, this is really kind of a fun listen. And just, you know, she knows what she's doing. She's kind of a professional, an expert in this field, you know, the Egyptian and the Arabic dance and the music. So she knows what she's doing. And you know, those two guys are amazing musicians. So it's obviously it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, I think the album is a bit too long, but I'm really excited to check out the first two albums as well. And this one is an old classic. Like, I suddenly remembered this about 3 weeks ago, and I saw it in Disc Union. I was like, man, I remember having this album and like kind of loving it, and I hadn't really thought about it for a while. And I kind of went on YouTube and I found the title track and I posted it. And you know, and a lot of people hadn't heard of it before. And now a lot of people have like ripped this and put it on YouTube now in the past like couple of weeks. Gil. Rock is not what you think. I think this is my classic, could be pushing it. I think this is fucking amazing. It's their only album. Came out on a label called Random, which seems to be kind of like, I don't know, Random only has this album and another album by a kind of like gothic, like new wave kind of band. I think it feels like kind of like a local label that had some like businessmen behind it or something. Like, well, let's do a record label or something. That's what it feels like. But interesting band. It's like kind of simple riffs. There's definitely like a US hardcore influence in this band. They're kind of melodic. And I know that they were hanging out with the American contingent in around Tokyo because they always say like thanks to like Roger from Peace.
Right.
There's a guy called Robert who's involved with the band who does some of the artwork. And really cool, like just kind of driving hardcore. The vocalist is not particularly aggressive. He's kind of a bit back in the mix. Really like nice bass lines. It's great, and the title track is amazing. Like Rock Is Not What You Think, and good stuff. Yeah, I have one complaint. Like the second song is one of those kind of mid-pace, like kind of rocking numbers, and it doesn't work well as the second song. They should have put it like in the middle of the record. But apart from that, no complaints. And I love. Have you heard this?
I am trying to recall. I had like a
Okay,
burned CD of
okay.
Gil at some point. I don't know if it was that or not.
Okay. They have some 7-inch singles out too, and a flexi
Yeah.
disc, and that's a bunch of comp tracks. But at the beginning of the album, it's really cool. Like I know, I can't think of anyone else who has done this. Like this band got played on the radio in the States, and it might be Maximum Rock and Roll Radio or a college radio station, but they sample it. So it's got that like radio, like static. There's like a little bit of Gil like playing, and then the DJ comes in, like American guys, like, hey, that was Gil. Gil gave us a song like whatever it's called, Fight, and it got slams like straight into the like the title track. It's such a cool like little effect. It's great. It's kind of really like it's just a nice thing to have at the beginning of the record.
Yeah, that was a great American accent, by the way.
Thanks. I don't know where I'm from. Where generic American. I know. I thought it was like Maximum Rock and Roll Radio, but it could be anywhere in America. But or they could have even like done it in the studio, and maybe that guy Robert did it, and it's like fake, like even on the radio. But either way, it sounds like really, really cool at the beginning of the record. Very unique. All right, I think that was my round. Yep, D.O.T and Gil. That was my round.
All right. So my next pick, this is Cosmic Neurose.
Oh, okay, interesting.
This is Brand New Wild is the name of it. This was on Royal Shadow in 2011. This is a little hard to describe for me, but it's kind of creative. It's got like a fresh feel. It's, at times it approaches kind of a traditional sound, but there's always something a little off kilter about it. That's a little hard to describe, whether it's like the song structures or, I mean, this is one of those albums that has like kind of what I call lead bass. The bass player is really kind of driving things, and guitar distortion is super thick. The guitarist was an Abraham Cross member at one point.
Right.
So, you can imagine killer guitar tone. But I think maybe the most notable thing is the vocalist. So the guy in this, his name is Death Row.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's spelled like Death Row, but without the W. He's really versatile. He kind of switches from, shouting to singing, and is really good at doing both of those things. Kind of maybe Dave Smalley-esque a little bit. Dave Smalley from Dag Nasty. Kind of similar approach. And so Death Row, he became like a solo artist at some point after this.
Yeah.
And he's doing kind of like I think it's called beat rock.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it, man. It's almost like or it's almost like kind of J-pop, but like kind of very theatrical, like
J-rock, right? Yeah, so kind of like more mainstream, but I think he kind of adds a bit of a punk indie edge to it, just given his background and everything. I haven't really checked out his solo stuff, but this was one of his bands before he went solo. And yeah.
There was a bunch of bands like in that kind of scene. There's another band called Angel OD, kind of super blown out, and they were called like Struggle for Pride as well. I feel like a lot with those bands, kind of like not experimental hardcore, but like
we know there's an SSD cover on this. They cover Glue from Get It Away, and I think maybe that kind of captures their approach. Like Glue is. It's classic American hardcore, but it's a little weird. It's a little off kilter. So it's kind of in the spirit of like SSD Get It Away, I guess I would say. It's kind of
I've seen them live, but I've never heard any of their recordings. So
cool. All right. And my next pick, this is real reggae. So this is Rig. This is their comeback CD from 2016. So, this group was around in the late 90s, right? And they 625 reissued their album, and they were very much a part of that kind of like thrashcore wave, I would say. Um, Very fast, hectic music, not really metallic at all, but just very thrashy. Um, I was not really a fan of them back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I thought their recordings were like kind of thin sounding, not too memorable. And I don't know, these kind of bands, like you might say they're a bit gimmicky. Like, I mean, obviously their thing is like they sing about marijuana.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bands that are doing this, right? There's
But
Rock in
they've been doing it for a
Sweden.
while, though. They've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you've got FEK, Scumbag, of course, Dread Yankees. We
The
can't forget to
greatest,
mention Dread Yankees.
greatest of the time.
So it's kind of, I think of it as like a post spaz sensibility, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it's just kind of meat and potatoes, like
Yeah,
Y2K thrash or whatever. I know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So anyway, the point is that I
Mm-mm,
was not into them back in the day, but
mm-mm.
I kind of just picked this up randomly because I was like, oh, I wonder what they're like, 15 years later. And I was like totally surprised by this.
Cool.
This is a great album.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's got like a massive kind of like professional sounding production. It
Nice.
just like sounds really good. They finally found some bottom end. So like it just sounds really full. Um, Very hooky. So like they actually wrote songs for this one. Very memorable.
Mm-mm-mm.
I don't mean to like damn them with like faint praise, but this is a good album. I
Good.
enjoy it, and it kind of just surprised me how much I
Okay.
liked it actually.
Interesting.
And I was wondering, like these bands that sing about marijuana, is that like a big deal when bands do that? Because I know it's like very illegal in Japan, right? It's like
Very, yes.
very
You know,
much frowned upon.
it's a mystery to me. I don't know. I'm not going to sort of go into too much detail about it, but yeah, it's I don't think these bands are like on any sort of. They're not big enough to be sort of like
Yeah.
I mean, I have students at school that have like, kids who have like marijuana pencil cases and marijuana pen
Mm,
cases and stuff. It's just like I don't think they're being watched or anything. I think they can just
yeah.
do it and nobody. I mean, even like rocking in Sweden, I don't think they're under any like surveillance or anything. Just like they're just a rock
Okay.
band. It's probably just a gimmick. So I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. But yeah, it's very severe. You shouldn't carry it around when
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was always just curious if it was like, risky in any way to be doing that kind of concept. I mean, just in terms of like music and stuff, but kind of sounds like it's not too big of a deal.
There was a band in the 70s who went into the 80s, I think, too, called the Timers, who were kind of like a bit of a left field, like Japanese rock, kind of new wavy band. But Timer means marijuana. But their name was the
Mm.
Timers, Timers. So they were kind of getting away with a lot of stuff, and they were more of a mainstream band. They're a good band, actually. Like all the punks like love the Timers, but
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can see this is kind of like discharge style.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it is, yeah. Oh,
It's
wow.
smoke discharge, but this is like hear nothing, see nothing, say nothing. Yeah, they're very dedicated to the concept, let's say.
Nice. They're from Maizuru. It's a small town in Kyoto Prefecture, and they're very close to MCR because that's where MCR is from too. Same small town on the coast of Kyoto Prefecture.
Yeah, but if you ever wrote him off, you can give this one a chance. Has
All right,
my
I'll check it
seal
out.
of approval.
I believe you. I'll check it
Yeah.
out. All right, I'm completely aware that there are a lot of people out there who really aren't too keen on the super rocking Japanese hardcore that has a lot of guitar solos and a lot of like Motorhead riffs. I love it, but I do know for a fact that a lot of people like don't like it. I get it. So here's something that is not that. This is like traditional Japanese hardcore with all that taken out of it. This one like took my head off. I bought it actually after our last episode because I was like, okay, I'm gonna start looking at like CDs now, because it's kind of fun. So this came out on Bloodsucker in 2011. I actually originally had it tied in the same round as Yo-Shi, but I've kind of moved it over now. This is amazing. Siren. Owari Naki Shodo, or Endless Impulse. Bloodsucker Records. Again, what's his name? I forgot his name. The artist got his name suddenly gone out of my brain. That guy.
Which one's it? Sugi or?
Yes, that's it. Sugi.
Okay.
It's black and white. That's what threw me off. It's like black and white, which is a clue, actually, I want to say, because like, man, this fucking rips. It's and you can kind of tell. I mean, it's like the song titles, like "Fucked Up System," "Bastard," "Anti-Distorted," "Daily Life," "Strike," "Crying for Revenge," which I'm like, okay, they've done an ultra violent cover, but it's not. They just like stole the title. But it's like no frills, pile driving, like Japanese hardcore with like no Motorhead, no metal, big kind of like UK82 influence, but like fast. This is wild. I mean, and it's like a one and done band. I could get no information about this band. I don't even know where they're from. Siren, 2011. Amazing. Like I said, I had this.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah,
So
one and done. Bloodsucker probably came and went. They have nothing else. I don't know what members have done or what they've gone on to do, but this is absolutely blazing Japanese hardcore without some of the things that some people don't like guitar solos and like Motorhead riffs and stuff. Absolutely killer. Siren. Owari Naki Shodo, or Endless Impulse. Oh, and I have one more, right? Because it was originally going to be Yo-Shi. This is a weird one. I saw this. I found it the other day. It's Attempt, and it's called An Aggregate. And I remember seeing this band a couple of times in 2004, 2005, and I remember them being like really energetic live band, younger guys. And I think I bought this actually at the time, but ended up like selling it at some point. And I kind of bought it again recently. It's on Go to Hell Records, which isn't a prolific label, small label. Man, interesting. It's kind of like, traditional Japanese hardcore with no frills, but it has kind of like a little bit of a kind of a crust tinge to it, slightly down-tuned. The vocal delivery, it's not Crusher Crust. It's not like Osaka Crusher Crust, but the vocal delivery kind of reminds me more of a kind of straight ahead, like American, like crust band, which actually it's kind of an interesting mix, actually. The Japanese hardcore with a little bit of kind of US crust. And I don't know what happened to this band. I don't know what they're doing now. It's a one and done thing. I think I had another split CDR, I think, with another band, which I haven't heard, but
I think the artwork is super cool on that CD also.
Right. It's a good little CD actually, but completely forgotten band. And I kind of want to find out like what these guys are doing. I can probably find out. I can probably ask some people, but yeah, Attempt, An Aggregate. Go to Hell. Go to Hell Records put out that band Degenerate as well. I don't know if you know that band. They're an Osaka band, kind of interesting band, traditional Japanese hardcore band, kind of like. Actually, I'll talk about them again later. Actually, I don't have any of their CDs, but they kind of tie in with something that I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit in my last round.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. My next pick. This is Effect.
Oh.
Effective Disaster. This came out on Punk Levitt. I don't know if I'm saying that right. In 2005. So this is well, you can probably kind of tell what it sounds like a little bit by looking at the typeface here, but it's very powerful anarcho crustcore sound, kind of in a European style. So reference point would be like sedition. I think this is the sedition.
It looks like it a bit, right?
Yeah. Or disaffect, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This gets maybe a little more melodic than those bands. There's like a lot of kind of epic minor key sounding type melodies. I was wondering if this was maybe kind of in that post-tragedy wave a little bit, but then, the more I listen to it, it almost sounds like Envy, the Japanese screamo band.
Really interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, kind of like Envy mixed with like European crust.
Wow.
So it's interesting. I mean, that might turn off some people, but I think it's very well done. Um, Interesting thing is that they have, you can see they have 6 members, which is like a lot of people.
Right.
There's 2 vocalists and 2 guitarists,
Okay.
and yeah, dual vocals. So there's male and female vocals, and this is one of those releases like there's almost no information about it on the internet. Very hard to find stuff, like who the members were and stuff, but I think there were people involved with Final Bloodbath who
Okay.
became final at one point.
Okay.
Um, Maybe Contrast Attitude and Life, like people who were in those bands at some point, but
Mm.
not 100% sure. It's got kind of like boxy production, but I think it works pretty well. Well, it's just like really fierce, driving, in a Eurocrust style. And artwork's kind of cool. It's very,
Yeah.
very colorful.
Mm.
So yeah, this is pretty obscure. I've never heard anyone talk about it, but it's very good, very solid.
Nice.
And my next one, this is The Savages,
Oh, okay. I remember that band. Yeah.
called Bloom on the Ash. This came out on Break the Records in 2018. This is basically, I would say it's melodic hardcore. So it's interesting. Like all these labels kind of put out these little blurbs that are like press releases or like
Mm,
descriptions of the band.
mm, mm.
And this one, they describe it as like UK/Nordic hardcore
Mm.
with a touch of melancholy or like raw punk, emotional raw punk. And I don't know. I'm always looking at like uh, when band members are wearing like what t-shirts are they wearing or what patches do they have and stuff like that. So like this guy's studded jacket has like Broken Bones and Kafka Process and those kind of bands, but it's interesting. When you listen to them, they're much more melodic than you would think, given that press release and the patches he's wearing and stuff. It actually sounds a lot more to me like Articles of Faith or maybe Funeral Oration, like the Communion 12
Wow.
inch. Like,
Okay.
yeah, that kind of fusion of like hardcore and melody. Um, like those kind of bands really came to mind. Maybe even like late, kind of mid to late Government Issue.
Man.
Uh, or even,
Why, like, this sounds like exactly the what? Yeah, I swear. I think I saw them once, probably, and like wasn't interested at the time. But that sounds
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, you know what? I saw them live also.
Really.
And I did not think they were a great live band, actually.
Mm,
So,
mm, mm, mm.
but I think the CD is really good. It's just catchy and melodic, but the guitars are just like very raw, caustic sounding, tons of energy.
Mm,
And yeah, I think it's another one that flew under the radar a bit,
mm.
probably because it's CD only, but I think this would be up a lot of people's alley. Just
Yeah, it
kind of
sounds.
that fusion of like aggression and melody.
Oh, it
Um,
sounds cool. Yeah,
so definitely hits the
I'm
spot.
gonna track that one
Oh,
down.
and the front man in this, he is also in Raw Distractions.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
There you go. Okay.
So I think they're more of kind of a UK 82
Mm,
thing, although
yeah,
they kind of get a little melodic at times as well. But
nice.
yep, Savages.
Cool. Nice. All right. I can still do a round 6 because I originally had 3 in my last round, so I worked out fine. Yeah. Um, local band. This band were a local band in Osaka. The singer passed away recently, although this band had broken up quite a long time ago. Yeah, they were kind of part of a sort of, traditional Japanese hardcore scene in Osaka that was kind of separate from like Nightmare and Warhead and Rapes and Dance Macabre. They kind of, actually, there's a bit of crossover with those. They kind of had their different scenes. So I don't remember ever seeing this band like play with Warhead. I'm talking about Chainsaw, who were like, I know, they're not going to change the world. They're not going to kind of blow your head off. But man, I think this band appealed to like people outside of Japan, because didn't they tour the States? I know they toured Europe. They have a bunch of records out like in the States. Like they did a split 7-inch with the Crunky Kids, which is like Wedge from Nine Shocks Terror's band, right? They did a 3-way split with Voetsek and Conga Fury from Japan. They put a 7-inch out in Holland. I know, but this band is like really like nothing that special. It's just like traditional Japanese hardcore with a bit of like US hardcore. They were a super fun band to kind of go and see live. Came out on Bloodsucker, 1999. I know, it's just always kind of interested me, this kind of separate scene, like Chainsaw, a band called ROM, who are a kind of rock and roll band, the band Degenerate that I just mentioned, maybe even like Krusty High Charge, that band Backbone that I also talked about. Just all these like little like separate smaller scenes within a scene. Chainsaw kind of part of that, but it's actually interesting because like I said, the singer passed away, right? And Mune from Paintbox was writing about it, and he's like, yeah, it's like, man, one time we went to Osaka and we usually play with like Nightmare and Warhead, blah blah blah. It's like, but for some reason on this occasion we kind of ended up playing with all these other bands. And he said at the beginning, like, he wasn't really happy about it. But he said, yeah, it's a really good experience because I kind of met a lot of different people that I probably wouldn't have already met. It's just so weird to be in like in a city with like these like little separate scenes. But I think people like this band like outside of Japan. They kind of have this like, we were talking about like Y2K thrash and like thrashcore and bandana thrash and all that kind of stuff. They have a little bit of that in there as well. I think it was just like meat and potatoes, like hardcore that people enjoyed.
Yeah, I think 6 Weeks put out a collection CD, so probably got
partial discography CD.
yeah, a little more distribution in the States.
Yeah, but the funny thing is though, like the guitar player actually did later go on to be the guitar player in Nightmare, Masashi. So yeah, that's how that worked out. But yeah, Chainsaw, I know, not the best hardcore band ever from Osaka, but fun band. People kind of like Chainsaw. My last pick is completely different to anything that I've showed so far. I used to go and see this band play in the early 2000s, and they blew me away like every time. They're not a hardcore band. I'm going to recommend the CD to anyone who is into like Leatherface and kind of like Leatherface influenced bands, and maybe kind of like slightly emotional, like Jawbreaker-ish indie rock. The band's called Morgue Side Cinema. This is like, they had like a demo CD. This is their first like official album. It's on Loft, which is like in a big label. I think Loft had big hopes for this band. But man, chain smoking vocalist, like just super hoarse, like Frankie Stubbs. And what's that guy's name from Jawbreaker? Like Blake. like that guy. And just those like chiming guitars. It's not perfect. Like 3 or 4 of the songs are perfect. There's a couple of lesser songs, but man, it's called Domestic Predator. It came out in 2002 on Loft, and I don't know what happened to this band. They have 2 more albums that came out on CH, which is a label that has like Razor's Edge and stuff, and Swarm and a bunch of other bands on them. But okay, I've talked about, actually, I think at the beginning of the last show, we talked about the concept of the rare CD. As I was like looking this up, I could not believe the prices for this on Discogs. blew my mind. Like $200. There's like 3 copies for sale, like right now, and there's like it's between like 170 and like like $200. I don't know why. They don't seem to be like suspicious sellers. It's like regular kind of sellers. So I was correct. There is such a thing as I don't know. I think you can find this in Japan for like $10 if you're in Japan. But Discogs World, it's a different game. But yeah, there's another thing I kind of want to mention about this. They did a split 7-inch with an American band called what was the name of that band? The Whiskey Rebels, or the Whiskey fucking Drinkers, and like that band's like a kind of like run of the mill, like I think Californian like pop punk band. I think Whiskey Sunday. That was it. That's the name of the band, Whiskey Sunday. They for some reason they did a split 7-inch with Whiskey Sunday. I have no idea why. But the interesting thing is that Whiskey Sunday did a split 7-inch with this band called the St. Catharines from Canada, and 1 or 2 members of that band are now in Roach Squad with Frankie Stubbs from Leatherface, right? So man, the full circle like came like right around. All these bands that are doing like the kind of Leatherface thing now, this band were doing it. I mean, I don't know, it's not that long ago, it's 2005, but not many bands were doing this in Japan, and they're really great. But you can't listen to it. There's like none of these songs are on YouTube. There's like 1 promotional video from a later album on YouTube, which is great. But yeah, Morgside Cinema, Domestic Predator.
Cool. I definitely want to check that out.
I want to kind of rip this CD and share it, because I think people who love like Leatherface and Jawbreaker and that kind of emotional indie rock.
I mean, Leatherface and Jawbreaker are like maybe my 2 favorite bands of all time. So
I hope this doesn't. I don't think this will disappoint you. I just wish there was someone where to listen to online. But
I have a CD. It's like a Japanese tribute to Leatherface. I wonder if they're on that.
This band are interesting because they were not part of like that snuffy smile melodic punk scene. They were like kind of kind of dark. Just I know the members were kind of a little bit difficult to deal with, and I think that's why they kind of got dropped from Loft. And I kind of knew the singer. I used to hang out with the singer for a while, and I kind of know what he's like. And I think they were a difficult band to deal with. I can't imagine them. Well, let's check that out later. But they really were not part of that kind of like melodic punk scene in Japan at that time. But you'll love this band, I think. Morgside Cinema. And that's my last pick for today. There you go.
Yep. Okay. Okay, my last round. Well, I saved something. Well, 2 things a little different for the last round as well. First one, this band is called. Well, it's either Do Trash or Dot Rash.
Rash. That's amazing. Local band. They're from Kyoto. I talked about the woman in the middle because she's in another band, Boys Order.
Okay.
Boys Order. She was the singer.
Yeah, but, I was reading like the little press release blurb, or I think maybe it's on the Obi strip as well, but they talk a lot about the double meaning of this band's name. So I don't know what Do Trash means, and I don't know what Dot Rash means either, but there's apparently some kind of meaning to that. Seems like it got lost in translation.
I always call it Dot Rash, but that's not what it looks to me. But
I always said Do Trash in my head. So, I don't know. It's a bit of a Rorschach test. They kind of sound like it's punk, but it's got a bit of a power pop, new wave vibe to it. I mean, you can kind of tell by looking at the artwork. It's got keyboards. It's just really fun and catchy, kind of like, fun punk, new wave type stuff. Reminds me a bit of the Rosillos, I would say. Maybe undertones, like the way they use keyboards is very much reminded me of that band. And actually, it's got a bit of this kind of like amateurish, innocent vibe that reminds me of like Shonen Knife a little bit, particularly in the way the vocals sound, the way she sings. She sounds like Naoko from Shonen Knife. The guitarist he sings a little bit as well. I have to say neither of them can really. They don't have great voices. So you kind of have a bit of like a twee aspect to this
Mm.
as a result. So that might turn some people off, but overall, I think it's just totally charming release. Came out. It came out on Hardcore Kitchen
Yep. Okay. Yep. Yep.
in 2023.
Okay.
So
Yep.
pretty recent, actually.
Yeah, they're an active band. You know, she's great. The woman in the middle, Isadora. She's very active. She
Yeah.
organizes tons of shows for touring bands in especially Kyoto. And yeah, she's great. But have you heard Boys Order, her old band?
No, I haven't checked them out.
It's kind of similar to that. It's like that very, it's power pop basically, but that kind of that amateur, like very charming. Like that's a great record. Came out on Secret Mission Records.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Boys Order,
Yeah, I'll
Boys
check
Order.
that one out too.
Yeah.
And my last pick. So I mentioned this to you offline last time we spoke, and at the time I said I wasn't sure if I liked it that much or not, but I spent a little more time with it, and it's definitely grown on me in a pretty big way. So talking about this is Elevation with
Oh,
their Neotext CD,
mm,
and this came out on Mangrove in 2005, and this is post-punk.
nice.
Post-punk almost to a fault, I would say. I don't like to use the word angular
Mm,
because I feel like it's a bit overused, but
thank
um, let's just say that the angularity of this band is pretty off the charts.
you. Interesting.
It's completely like Gang of Four,
Mm,
Minutemen type sound, maybe even some no wave like DNA.
cool.
But the guitars are just very like extremely dry and spiky sounding. Um, Very noisy at times as well. Bass lines that are kind of all over the place and kind of hypnotic.
Mm,
And, they kind of, it's so discordant. It almost sounds like the members are playing like different songs at certain times. So, not easy to get into, but I found, once I really listened to it, it actually is kind of like weirdly catchy in its own way. Just takes a bit of like acclimating to their sound.
okay.
And they got a female vocalist, so
Nice.
she's like kind of it's more like chanting and shouting. She's not really singing. You're not going to come away from this like humming any melodies or anything like that.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's like to my ears at least, it's like so unapproachable. It's almost kind of aggressive and like
Mm,
confrontational in its own way.
nice.
That's where that kind of like DNA
Mm,
type sound comes in. But this I mean, this came out in 2005. I don't know anything about the members or this band.
me neither.
They had one other CD, I think. And then I don't know, kind of seems like they just disappeared. But
Yeah, I haven't even. No, I hadn't even heard
yeah,
them. But 20 years is a long time ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's it.
nice.
Those are my picks.
There we have it. Looking out, we've given you like a wide range of stuff. Some familiar, maybe some not so familiar. But hope if you've been watching, you sort of found something that will interest you, or reminded you of something that that you haven't played for a while. That's certainly the case for me today. I've got to go out and re-listen to some stuff and go and buy a whole bunch of stuff, go and buy a bunch of whole stuff. But the beauty of the CD is that it's in most cases it's cheaper than vinyl. And yeah, I've got to say, after doing these episodes, I have been, like I said, going to like the used CD sections in like Disc Union and Time Bomb and Punk and Destroy. It's kind of fun actually. It's kind of fun like looking around and but there wasn't as much stuff as I was like hoping. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to like, kind of get everything in like a couple of in like a couple of weeks or a month, but it's actually kind of not the case. There's some kind of hard
I
stuff.
gotta say, I am jealous that you can just pop into Disc Union. So,
Yeah, but it was actually a little bit disappointing. I was a bit cocky. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this today, like no problem. And it's like, nah, wasn't happening. It hasn't happened yet. Like, so there's still a bunch of stuff that I'm looking for. But yeah, I think in the case of I think Japan is like kind of an exception in a way because there is like so much good stuff that was only released on CD. So I think it's a strong case to be made for the CD in regards to Japanese hardcore. There we have it. We're going to sign off now. Thanks for watching. I don't know when you're watching this, where this is going to go online on like Monday or Tuesday. But see you soon. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Cheers. Have a good weekend.